الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه ومن سار على سبيله إلى يوم الدين أما بعد. So inshallah in continuing with Manhaj As-salikeen, now we start from Kitab Al-Tahara. Now, as we covered before, the Kitab Al-Siyam, Book of Siyam, because we was approaching the month of Ramadan. And now inshallah we go from the beginning of the book, from Kitab Al-Tahara. So I mentioned قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم بني الإسلام على خمس شهادة أن لا إله إلا الله وأن محمدا رسول الله وإقام الصلاة وإيتاء الزكاة وحج البيت وصوم رمضان متفق عليه. So here mentions the pillars of Islam based on the hadith of Ibn Umar, Abdullah ibn Umar radiallahu anhuma. That was mentioned that Islam is built upon five: the shahada of la ilaha illallah, and that Muhammad is the messenger of Allah, and to establish the salah, and to pay the zakat, and to perform hajj, and to fast the month of Ramadan. هذا الحديث متفق عليه is in both Bukhari and Muslim. So he mentioned فالشهادة أن لا إله إلا الله علم العبد واعتقاده والتزامه أنه لا يستحق الألوهية والعبودية إلا الله وحده لا شريك له. He mentions the shahada of La ilaha illallah is the abd, the servant, the worship of Allah, knowing and believing and holding firm to the fact that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the only one who is deserving of worship and servitude without any partners. لماذا ذكر هذا في كتاب الطهارة? Why is this be mentioned in the book of Tahara, of purification?
Yeah, the first purities of shirk.
Naam. The first purification is purifying oneself from shirk wal kufr. At-tahara bil iman. That a person has the spiritual purification. فلا ينفع الوضوء ولا غسل بدون توحيد. There's no benefit of your ghusl, your wudu, if you're not a person of tawheed. إذا كنت مشركا بالله, if you're a person of shirk, لا ينفعك. This will not benefit you. فيوجب ذلك على العبد إخلاص جميع الدين لله تعالى وأن تكون عباداته الظاهرة والباطنة كلها لله وحده وأن لا يشرك به شيئا في جميع أمور الدين. So mention that necessitates upon the worship of Allah that they purify all of the religion for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone, and that all of the acts of worship. Yeah, my voice, there's something wrong with my voice. It's something to do with hay fever, inshallah. Or there's some sickness. So I said, my voice keeps changing. No. Or maybe there's someone who's upset with me and is not saying Allah Mubarak, and it's affecting me because it's been a while now. Allah musta'an. Since the beginning of Ramadan. Alhamdulillah. نسأل السلامة والعافية وأن يؤلف بين قلوبنا. آمين. Now, so that they are to make sure that the acts of worship that are apparent and internal, all of them are for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone. وأن لا يشرك به شيئا في جميع أمور الدين, and they don't associate any partners with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in all of the matters of the religion. وهذا أصل دين جميع المرسلين وأتباعهم كما قال الله تعالى وما أرسلنا من قبلك من رسول إلا نوحي إليه أنه لا إله إلا أنا فاعبد. Surah Al-Anbiya 25. So here mentions This is the foundation of the religion of all of the messengers. فهذا معنى الدين الإسلام العام, the general Islam. And that is the religion of all the prophets and messengers sent by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the evidence is that Allah mentions, and we have not sent from before you from a messenger except that we reveal to them that there is none worthy of worship except for me, so worship me. هذا ما قال الله تعالى. والشهادة أن محمدا رسول الله أن يعتقد العبد أن الله أرسل محمدا صلى الله عليه وسلم إلى جميع الثقلين الإنس والجن بشيرا ونذيرا يدعوهم إلى توحيد الله وطاعته وبتصديق خبره وامتثال أمره واجتناب نهيه وأنه لا سعادة ولا صلاح في الدنيا والآخرة إلا بالإيمان به وطاعته وأنه يجب تقديم محبته على محبة النفس والولد والناس أجمعين. فهذا هو الطهارة القلب. This is the purification of the heart, the purification from everything that opposes Islam. That the heart becomes submissive to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. ولهذا جاء في الحديث النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال لا يؤمن أحدكم حتى يكون هواء تبعا لما جئت به. And none of you truly believe until the desires follow that which I have come with. And it takes a person cleansing their heart, purifying themselves spiritually with knowledge, that they're able to acknowledge Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who deserves to be worshipped, and the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam huwa al-Nabi wal-Rasul al-Muttaba', that he is the Prophet and the Messenger that is to be followed. وهذا من معنى أشهد أن محمد رسول الله. As mentioned, that we obey the commands and we stay away from the prohibitions. وما آتاكم الرسول فخذوه وما نهاكم عنه فانتهوا. Whatever the Prophet, the Messenger ﷺ has ordained upon you, then you uphold it. Whatever is prohibited you from, you stay away from it. وتصديقه فيما أخبر. That's the first one that I missed. That we have to believe in everything that the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ has informed us of. لأنه هو الصادق المصدوق. He's the one who speaks the truth and is to be believed. حتى قبل بعثته لم يتهم بالكذب أبدا. Even prior to becoming a prophet, he was never accused of lying. Rather, he was always known for being someone that was truthful. Also from the meaning of the Shahada, أن لا يعبد الله أو أن لا يعبد الله إلا بما شرع. That Allah is only to be worshipped how He has legislated. ومن يعلمنا كيف نتعبد لله. Who is the one who teaches us how to worship Allah? النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. وهذا في الحديث صلوا كما رأيتموني أصلي. Pray as you have seen me pray. Also knowing that لا سعادة ولا صلاح في الدنيا والآخرة إلا بالإيمان به وطاعته. That there is no happiness, no success, no rectification in this life, nor in the hereafter, except by belief in the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ and obeying him. Now, and it is obligatory that we give precedence to the love of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ before our own self, and our children, our parents, and all of mankind. وهذا مبني على الحديث ماذا قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم لا يؤمن أحدكم حتى يكون الله ورسوله أحب إليه من سواهما. None of you truly believe until Allah and His Messenger is more beloved to Him than anyone else. Or in another nation, لا يؤمن أحدكم حتى أكون أحب إليه من والده وولده والناس أجمعين. None of you truly believe until I am more beloved to them than their parents, their children, and all of mankind. When Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu anhu heard this, he said, أنت أحب إلي من كل شيء إلا نفسي. You are most beloved to me than anything except for myself. فقال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم حتى نفسك, until yourself also. فقال عمر رضي عنه أنت أحب إلي حتى من نفسي. فقال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم الآن يا عمر الآن. Now this is that complete iman. Now, so that means I put Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, before everything and anything else. وأن الله أيده بالمعجزات الدالة على رسالته وبما جبله الله عليه من العلوم الكاملة والأخلاق العالية وبما اشتمل عليه دينه من الهدى والرحمة والحق والمصالح الدينية والدنيوية. And also to know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has aided the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam with miracles that are evident of his messengership and that which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has nurtured the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam upon from the complete sciences of knowledge and the utmost praiseworthy characteristics and manners, and that which consists of, regarding his religion, of guidance and mercy and the truth, and that which serves in mankind's best interest in their worldly affairs and their religious affairs. وَآيَتُهُ الْكُبْرَى, and his major sign that was given to him from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, هَذَا الْقُرْآنُ الْعَظِيمُ بما فيه من الحق في الأخبار والأمر والنهي والله أعلم. And he mentioned the greatest sign is this Quran, with that which it contains of the truth in its news and the command and the prohibition, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best. So this is the most important purification that a person starts with. Purifying themselves from anything that will serve as an obstacle to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. هذا أول واجب اعتراف العبد أن الله خلقه ورزقه ودبر أمره وكتب أجله وأنه هو المستحق للعبادة. That this is everything from the actions of Allah. Allah created him, sustained him, controls his affairs, has decreed his appointed time. So Allah is only deserving of worship. So when a person acknowledges this now, this is where the submission starts to happen. Then they will comply in their submission to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with the acts of obedience. فهذا الطهارة الأولى. This is the first form of purification. الطهارة من الشرك والكفر. It is purifying oneself from shirk and kufr. والتحلي بالإخلاص, and that a person adorns himself with إخلاص, sincerity. لأن الله سبحانه قال وما أمروا إلا ليعبدوا الله مخلصين له الدين. They were not commanded except to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala built upon ikhlas. Built upon ikhlas. وكذلك قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم والذي نفس محمد بيده لا يسمع بي أحد من هذه الأمة يهودي ولا نصراني ثم يموت ولم يؤمن بالذي أرسلت به إلا كان من أصحاب النار. By the one who the soul of the Prophet Muhammad is in his hand, no one from this ummah hears of me, I am the messenger of Allah, from the Jews nor the Christians, and then they die whilst not believing in that which I was sent with, except they'll be from the companions of the hellfire. فكل من سمع عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم وبلغه القرآن ولم يؤمن بما جاء به النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم فهو من أهل النار. Anyone who comes to hear of the Prophet Muhammad or the Quran and does not believe in that which is in it, and they die in this state, then they will be from the people of the hellfire. حتى الجن, even the jinn, when they heard the Quran, they say, يا قومنا أجيبوا داعي الله. O our people, answer the call of the one who is calling to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The one who has been sent from Allah Azza wa Jal, answer. الجن لما استمعوا القرآن هذا ما قال. When they heard the Quran, listened to the Quran, this was their response. فأول أمر الاستسلام وكل شيء مبني على ذلك. Everything else is built upon this. Now, the initial submission to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with your heart, the belief, and then this will all manifest in your statements and your actions. After this, the author then goes into the first topic of Tahara, which is Faslun fil Miyah. Now, the chapter of water. لأن أصل الطهارة الأصل في الطهارة الماء. The asl of what is used for tahara is water. That is the asl. Then we find other things that may take the place in the absence of water. So I mentioned وَأَمَّا الصَّلَاةُ فَلَهَا شُرُوطٌ تَتَقَدَّمُ عَلَيْهَا. As for the salah, then there are conditions that precede it. وَلِهَذَا نَبْدَأُ بِالطَّهَارَةِ قَبْلَ الصَّلَاةِ. This is why we start with tahara before the salah. Why? لأن ليس هناك لا صلاة إلا بالطهارة. There is no salah without tahara. It is a condition of the salah that a person is in a state of tahara. فمنها من هذه الشروط, from these conditions, الطهارة كما قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم لا يقبل الله صلاة بغير طهور. Allah does not accept the salah that is not done in a state of that is not done in a state of purity. So if a person prays and they're not in a state of tahara, that salah is not going to be accepted by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وهذا الحديث متفق عليه, both Bukhari and Muslim, and they are the most authentic books that have been authored after the Quran. And we say authored because the Quran is the speech of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, فمن لم يتطهر من الحدث الأكبر والأصغر والنجاسة فلا صلاة له. So as for the one who does not purify themselves from major impurity, which we'll come to understand what this is, and minor impurity, and general physical impurities, then there's no salah for that person. So, of the things that's mentioned here, Al-Hadath Al-Akbar. Al-Hadath Al-Akbar, هذا ما يوجب الغسل. This is the impurities that necessitate ghusl, that you have to take the ritual bath, such as al-janaba, wal-hayd, wal-nafas. In a state of janaba after intercourse or ejaculation without intercourse, menstrual cycle, postnatal bleeding. هذا حدث الأكبر. As for حدث الأصغر, هذا ما يوجب الوضوء. This is what necessitates a person to make wudu, such as passing wind, relieving oneself in the toilet, eating camel's meat. Now, and other things that will be mentioned inshallah ta'ala fil bab. When we speak about an-najasa, impurities, physical impurities, it revolves around three areas. Al-badan, wal-libas, wal-buq'a. The clothing, or the body first, the clothing, and the place of prayer. You have to make sure it's clean. So if you go toilet, you can't make wudu if you haven't cleaned yourself first. You clean yourself first to remove the impurity from the body. If it's on your clothing, for example, somehow urine got on your clothes, you have to wash it. You can't pray in that state. Even if it's dry, you have to wash it. The place you're praying cannot have any impurities there either. Now, there is a slight difference regarding an-najasa wal hadath. For example, let's say you didn't know you had najasa, an impurity, and a physical impurity on your clothing or your shoe, and you started to pray, but you come to find out, then you can remove the item of clothing as long as your awrah is still covered, and you don't have to redo the salah. You continue your salah. Based when the Prophet Muhammad was praying, and he had impurity on the bottom of his sandal, and he was informed by the angel Jibreel and he removed his shoes during the salah. And he continued to pray. So he removed the impurity and continued to pray. As for example, you start salah, but you come to realize you don't have wudu, then that salah is invalid. You can't go make wudu and say, I got 2 rak'ah left. La, you start again. You see the difference? Now, he mentions at-taharatu naw'an. Purification is 2 types. أحدهما الطهارة بالماء وهي الأصل. The one first of them is purifying yourself with water, and that is the foundation. That is the asl, that is the foundation. That one uses water. فكل ماء نزل من السماء أو نبع من الأرض فهو طهور. So every water that comes from the sky or emerges from the earth, then it is pure. And tahur, when we use this term, it means that you're able to use it to purify yourself. Some scholars say water is of 3 types: tahur, tahir, najis. And some say it's 2 types. وَهَذَا مَا أَمِيلُ إِلَيْهِ, and that's what I also follow, that is 2 types: tahur wa najis. They say tahur meaning it is pure within itself, in its natural state, and can be used to purify other things, yourself and clothes and the likes and the place. Those who say tahir, this means it's pure, but you cannot use it for purification. For example, this is water now. Now, let's say I went to the shop and I bought Vimto. This water, I've drank a little bit, right? If I fill the rest up with Vimto, it's not recommended, a lot of sugar. Can I make wudu with that?
No.
No. Why?
Because you mixed it with another drink, it's not water.
No. So is it called water anymore?
No.
It's no longer called water. So إذا خرج عن مسماه بالماء أصبح طاهرا. If it is no longer referred to as water, now it's just called pure. Tahir is pure, but it's not tahur. You cannot use it to purify yourself. Another example, tea. No one say, I don't get a teapot, Turkish style, put the leaves in there, and when it's finished, do I tell you, do you want some water with leaves in it? Do you say that? Do you say, hey, my friend, would you like some water with leaves? Does anyone say that? Have you ever heard anyone say that? They say, do you want some tea? It's no longer called water. So from the name is changed. Because the nature of the water has changed, it's no longer tahur, but it's tahir. And the next type of water is, the last type is najis, that which is impure. Because it's mixed with something that has changed the taste, the color, or the smell. These are 3 characteristics of the water. واضح? Is that clear? جيد. حبيبنا أي ساعة اليوم؟
الثامنة وإما 3 دقائق.
طيب. I must mention, this type of water, yes, it changes the water's color, but it's still pure. It's still pure. But you cannot use it for purification, but you can drink it. If it was najis, you're not allowed to drink it. You see? So it says, يطهر من الأحداث والأخباث ولو تغير لونه أو طعمه أو ريحه بشيء طاهر. Is used to purify from the spiritual purification of passing wind, relieving oneself. You have to purify yourself for the salah, for the prayer. And also cleaning the actual physical impurities from your clothing, from your body, or the place of worship. Even if the color, the smell, the taste is changed by something that is what? Pure. كما قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم إن الماء طهور لا ينجسه شيء. Because water is pure, nothing makes water impure. هذا سيأتي تفسير. This is going to come in more detail inshallah. Because if it is something pure that changes the color, the taste, or the smell, but with that change, the name is also changed, then you cannot use it to make wudu or ghusl. You could use it to clean an impurity, but as for making wudu and ghusl, that you can't. It has to be water. طيب. فإن تغير أحد أوصافه بنجاسة فهو نجس يجب اجتنابه. If it's one of these characteristics changed by something impure, those 3 characteristics, the taste, the color, the smell, if this is changed because of something impure, then that water becomes impure and you have to stay away from it. No? That water becomes impure and you have to stay away from it. And he mentioned, وَالْأَصْلُ فِي الْأَشْيَاءِ الطهارة والإباحة. The foundation in things is that it is pure and permissible. Okay? We need evidence for something to become impure or impermissible. And that is also evidence of at-taysir fi sharia. That the sharia is easy. The Islam is easy. فإذا شك المسلم في نجاسة ماء أو ثوب أو بقعة أو غيرها فهو طاهر. If a person has doubt in the purity of the water or the clothing or the place of worship and or otherness, then it is pure. Because it's only going to become impure with certainty, not with doubt. So the asl is purity. So if I just found a bucket of water, the asl is that it's what? Pure. Unless it becomes clear to me with certainty that it is impure. Now, طيب. We'll stop there today inshallah and we'll continue next week from the next topic, which is Al-Aniya, vessels. Inshallah. Allahu Akbar, Allah.